ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Friday, June 20th. It is also West Virginia Day, and it is also time for The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We got a lot going on here. Welcome in. Glad you're with us on this Friday. We've got the text line open all show long. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You can also find me on X. That is at Paul Swann. Do people say formerly known as Twitter anymore? Am I behind the curve on that? Well, we'll get your questions and we will get your comments on X as well. I've already got a poll question up ready for you. So all you have to do is head over to my account to vote. Question of the night after last night's win I thought it was a done deal, and then Indiana said no, not so fast. Indiana got the win over Oklahoma City, 108-91. So the series is tied 3 games apiece. We've got Game 7 coming up Sunday night, 8 o'clock in Oklahoma City. That game's also going to be broadcast right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Who you got? Game 7, NBA Finals. You got the Thunder, you got the Pacers right now, and it's early. We're going to take it all the way up to the show finale tonight. The Thunder and the Pacers, 50% of the votes split. Everybody is maybe 50-50 on this one right now. Should be a great Game 7. I was hoping that the Stanley Cup would go Game 7, but I will take an NBA Game 7 any day of the week in the finals. So that's going to be fun. At least I know what my Sunday night is going to look like. Of course, weekend, we have got a lot to get into. The Tri-State Coal Cats got the win over the Burlington Sock Puppets 9-8. The teams will do battle again tonight, 7 o'clock in Burlington. Head over to our website. The link over to the Coal Cats website. You can watch the video stream of that one there. And then, of course, we'll have the Coal Cats back home starting next week, Tuesday. You can listen to those games here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We also got Pirates baseball tonight on time. 6:15 is going to be our airtime. The Tigers got the better of the Pirates in Game 1 of the doubleheader yesterday, 9-2. And then the Pirates got the better of the Tigers in Game 2, went 10 innings, 8-4. And so the Pirates making the trip home, and they are now getting set to take on the Texas Rangers. And again, we'll have that game for you. It's coming up tonight. 6:15 is going to be our airtime right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So when I said open text line, and I promoted that earlier on social if you follow me, I want to make the entire show. And I'd like to make Fridays just completely text and interaction with you. And we've already got a good couple of texts come in with some really meaty stuff. So we're going to get into that here in just a moment. But I want to make sure that you get on board. And again, it's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. One of the big topics will be, of course, the landmark House resolution, the NCAA. We're going to be paying players now. We are at that point. We're not talking NIL. We're going to be paying players. And we're also going to get rid of scholarship limits. Instead, it's going to be roster limits, and every student athlete eligible for a scholarship. So that's a big deal. Where's all this money coming from? I saw something earlier today that a listener sent in to me. I knew this was happening. I didn't really touch on it when I heard about it earlier, and hopefully it doesn't happen necessarily at Marshall, because I don't think that is the way to go. But I saw where West Virginia is looking, and I believe they're doing it, $125 a semester, a student fee, $125. Now, I know that there was a dust-up a few weeks ago with Marshall Athletic Director Christian Spears going to the SGA, going to student government, trying to pitch the increased student fees, and that didn't seem to go over well, and honestly wasn't one of his better moments, as the news report made him look unprepared and didn't have his messaging on point. It really made him look bad, to be quite honest. And I hated that for him because I understand what he was trying to do, trying to find more avenues of revenue for the athletic department. This was, of course, this was pre the announcement that his contract would not be renewed, or along with the university, both parties agreed to mutually not renew. And so that's one source of revenue, because you're going to have to cover these costs to try to stay competitive. Television. You're also seeing more institutions borrowing from, and when I say institutions, I'm talking about the university, and the athletic department probably is going to be considered a separate entity in our conversation this point forward. Athletic departments borrowing from the institution. So basically the institution's loaning to itself, but the athletic departments, where this is starting to happen, will of course have to, majority of them anyway, repay the school back. You've probably done, I've borrowed from myself sometimes. You probably have done this as well. And so you've got athletic departments trying to cover the cost of these things. So there's a lot still going on. We're seeing it shape more and more into, again, a huge cluster as institutions are trying to figure out how to deal with this. And then, of course, we've got realignment. It's a possibility. There was a story earlier I was reading, and it involves former Sunbelt WAC Commissioner Carl Benson spoke with John Canzano, and Canzano has a website, and Commissioner Benson, the former commissioner, said that, quote, "I can tell you exactly what the Pac-12 is going to say if they add Texas State. They're going to say that Texas State has the potential to be the next Boise State. I said the same thing when I added them to the WAC, and again when I added them to the Sun Belt. It never happened. But maybe this is the time." And of course, he was asked for who else could possibly join the league. Canzano notes that UTSA comes up frequently in conversations, and Rice gets mentioned as well. And the conversation now is, according to this report, that the Pac-12 presidents aren't happy that the Texas State stuff has gone public, but the Bobcats still are a logical, common sense choice given the bottom line that they offer. Obviously, when your business gets out, the people in charge, making the deals, having the conversations, they don't like that. They don't like that at all. What do you think? We have executive sessions sometimes when we have Board of Governor meetings, because we don't want that stuff getting out, or at least if you're on the Board of Governors, or if you're in the search committee looking for, say, a new athletic director, you don't want that stuff getting out early. It kind of weakens your position a little bit. And here's the deal. And again, this is according to the report, and this is an interesting dynamic. Some Pac-12 presidents, according to this report, believe the source of the leak was conference athletic directors who are eager to get the expansion piece done, as the story reads. I like this line. The ADs find themselves in more frequent contact with media, fan, and boosters than presidents. I would beg to differ just a bit on that one. 304-396-TALK is our text line. 304-396-8255. We've got your text coming up. We've got an interesting one that I'm going to read here when we come back from break about the athletic director situation at Marshall, so we'll get into that with you, and plenty of time for you as well. It's an open line Friday here on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at Hims.com/joy and And from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
This summer, the fun heats up at Dave & Buster's. Introducing the all-new Summer Season Pass. Your ticket to unlimited gameplay all summer long. Now through Labor Day, choose the Silver Pass for unlimited weekday gameplay and 10% off food and drinks. Just $69.99. You want more? Upgrade to Gold or Platinum for weekend gameplay, up to 30% off food and drinks, and even weekly food vouchers. Don't miss out. Grab your pass today and level up your summer. Like updates may apply. Visit DaveandBusters.com for full details. The summer heats up at Dave & Buster's Huntington Mall.
Here's another Kinder Communications Community Chatter Group for Good coming up on Saturday, June 28th from 8 to 11 p.m. at West Edge Factory. This is a fundraiser for the United Way of the River Cities as they raise money and also provide menstrual products for Project Period.
This Kinder Communications Community Chatter brought to you by Buddy's All-American Barbecue, home to killer wings, great barbecue, ice-cold beer in Huntington and Milton. Visit WVBBQ.com.
This is Mayor Patrick Farrell. Summer in Huntington has always had a special energy, but this year feels different. Families are out walking, neighbors are reconnecting, and more folks are spending time downtown. We're a city focused on what matters. Dog Dazzle is your chance to soak it in. Enjoy fireworks, food, music, and a night by the river that brings us together. Join us July 3rd at Harris Riverfront Park. We'd love to see you there.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff, even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talkline, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Thank you, Dave. Don't forget, coming up on Monday, another week of Metro News Talkline. You can catch it right here at 10:06 ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I was listening to Dave earlier today, and Dave had the Marshall cap representing West Virginia Day. Tough spot for him being based in Morgantown, but Dave, keep up the good work. Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Here is an interesting one they got from the text line. Let's start with this one. Texter says, Paul, does it worry you that we could possibly have a lame duck athletic director while realignment talks are occurring? We need the new athletic director much sooner than later. I'm sorry, much sooner than later. I apologize. To keep us poised to make the correct moves. if larger realignment opens up. Imagine the AAC deciding to pull Appalachian State, Old Dominion, JMU, and Marshall getting left out like we were during the CUSA moves to the AAC. I understand where you're coming from, and I agree to a degree. I think Marshall has to get the right person in there, so I wouldn't rush the hire. At the same time, we should progress quickly in this regard. Have a new athletic director. I think it worked out okay when you had someone like Jeff O'Malley that was holding down the fort until the new athletic director was hired. And I think Jeff did a fantastic job. And, of course, I've said all along that he should get a phone call, or hopefully he's gotten a phone call, and asked about his interest in the position. Would he be interested in listening to the pitch, take the phone call, maybe would he interview? He would have been on my short list of people to at least give a phone call. But in this case, I'm going to say that Christian Spears, even though he does have technically the lame duck status, I think he's still working the job right now. You know, I watched him during the Board of Governors meeting not that long ago, and he's still working the job. He's not phoning it in. I believe he's not phoning it in. So I think in the short term, anything that would happen quickly, this would be a combination of you have the right people in the right spot. And obviously, I think the presidents are going to get involved more with this than the athletic director. Who's calling the shots around here? Brad Smith or someone else? Of course, Brad has to answer to a Board of Governors. Obviously, Brad has to do things by the book, but who's calling the shots around here? I think Brad Smith is probably going to be the guy getting things done. If there's a phone call to be made, Brad's going to be on that phone call. If there's a phone call to be taken, Brad's going to be on that phone call. So I'm not worried, and I don't think anything's going to move too quickly right now. We're going to find out soon about Texas State, only because you got to hit a certain deadline or there's going to be increase in the buyout. I think that hits here in the next week or so, if it's going to happen. Then that's going to open up, obviously, the expansion talks. Who can you bring in? Who can you bring in next year? Who can you bring in? Do you wait a year? Do you sit back and go, okay, what happens to the American now? Should the American be the aggressor and start picking up teams, or should the Sun Belt be the aggressor and start trying to pick up teams? Which league would have a better shot of bolstering itself? That's a great question. I appreciate the text. And, yeah, that's something we should talk about it. I'm not worried. The big decisions have got to come from Old Main, and they've got to come from Brad Smith. That's all there is to it. You do have an athletic director that's on the way out. You let the athletic director do his job, do the day-to-day work, do what he can do to forward the athletic department forward. And honestly, I don't think that he's going to sit back and go, I'm going to sink this place. No, I think he's going to do what's best for Marshall University. He's going to move the university's athletic department forward, and he's going to be here until the replacement is hired. So he's helping with the transition. And I think that's a fair statement that he probably wants to leave on a positive note, and he probably also wants to leave the university and the athletic department better than he found it. And if he can help in any way with this process, if it comes up while he's the athletic director, then I think it's more beneficial for him to be a positive part of this instead of, okay, I'll just be over here where you guys talk. No, he should be an active. He's still an employee. You got to do your job. You're still an employee. It doesn't matter if your term is up after the contract expires. You're still an employee, and if you didn't want to stick around, you should have stepped down. So I'm not too worried about that. But at the same time, I'm confident that Brad Smith's going to be the guy in charge. President, after all, athletic director is not going to do something without the consent of the president. But you got to remember, sometimes these athletic directors, they get a little chatty. They promise things, they say things that maybe they shouldn't be saying. I don't think that we've had that problem here in a while. It's been pretty radio silent for the most part. So good question. Appreciate that. Also from the text line, texter sent me a story. Came out earlier today, and here's the gist of it. The University of Wisconsin-Madison and the Big Ten Conference have filed a lawsuit against the University of Miami alleging that the Hurricanes tampered and poached defensive back Xavier Lucas while he was still under a binding 2-year NIL agreement with Wisconsin. Wisconsin claims Lucas signed the deal on December 2nd, 2024, committing both parties, and that the Miami Hurricanes made impermissible contact before he requested a portal entry, violating NCAA tampering rules. Lucas withdrew from Wisconsin without entering the official transfer portal, a violation of typical NCAA protocol that requires schools to process portal entries within 2 business days. Then he enrolled at Miami, and Wisconsin is saying that the NIL deal is enforceable and that Lucas received substantial financial compensation. And Big Ten officials also, according to the report that came out, echoed what Wisconsin said, warning that the case represents a critical moment in the evolution of college athletics and signaling a need for enforcement mechanisms around NIL and athlete recruiting agreements. Now, Lucas's attorney, Darren Hetner, disputed the enforceability of the NIL contract, arguing it's contingent on a pending court settlement, and criticized Wisconsin for allegedly holding Lucas hostage by denying portal access. So here we go. Here's the big issue here for me. How can you enforce contracts if all of a sudden you can turn around and say, okay, well, you're denying me portal access? And I appreciate the texter bringing that one to me today. And also said, I think ECU baseball accused LSU of the same thing. I think this should be an NCAA violation, actively recruiting a player who is not in the portal. My concern is, and again, that's a great text. Thank you. I think my big concern is, one, this is going to be a legal test for NIL-based contracts, and how enforceable are they? 2, the tampering rules are valid in my mind, and this is going to test the transfer procedures, and can universities legally restrict athlete movement through NIL commitments? Because it's name, image, and likeness. That's what it is. Name, image, likeness. We're paying you for your name. We're paying you for your image. We're paying you for your likeness. You're being able to I don't know if you can say, okay, we're paying you NIL money. Is NIL money based off of your fame, your name, your likeness, or, hey, you know what, you're a really good football player, we want to give you NIL money? That's the sticky point for me. This isn't about, hey, let's go give money to the best players we can and hold them here. The whole point of name, image, and likeness was, okay, I'm the star quarterback here, and I can profit now. I can get jersey sales because, the jersey pretty much ties into me. If I'm QB9 here and they're selling QB9 jerseys, well, why are people buying QB9 jerseys? Because I'm killing it. I'm the quarterback here. So I should be getting a piece of that action. Or the fact that I can go out and I can profit on my name now. What is the value of my name? And depending on who you are, where you're at. For example, what if I'm the best quarterback in college football right now? Paul Swann, the best quarterback in college football. I mean, people are talking about me. I'm going to be a Heisman candidate here. I mean, there could be a lot of accolades. I might be a first-round draft pick. Who knows? I'm pretty big deal right now. Oh, okay, EA Sports has got this new college football game coming out, and so I'm going to get a deal there because if they want to use Paul Swann, QB9, well, I got to get paid. That's my stats right there. Those are my numbers. Check it out. What a handsome-looking quarterback that guy is on the video game screen. Oh, it's me. You get the deal. And so, hey, you know what? Well, I could be the cover athlete. Oh, well, that's going to cost a little money, right? I'm going to get a little money for that. I'm going to be the quarterback on the cover of the video game. So I'm going to get paid for that. Okay, that's name, image, and likeness. And now it's, okay, hey, you know what? We could offer you this great NIL deal. You got to switch schools, though. Is that tampering? I think it needs to be defined, and I honestly think it is, because if you're not an available athlete, I don't care if you have a third party. Like, okay, I have an agent. Well, they're talking to my agent. So the school's agent is talking to the player's agent, or the player's agent is talking to the school. There's been a shared interest. There's a shared interest here in picking up a quarterback. Let's say it's me. It's my agent. My agent's looking around. Maybe I need a bigger deal. I can't go out there looking. I'm not going to put myself in the transfer portal just yet, but I need paid, so who's going to pay me before I make that decision? So, yes, I think it is. I think it is tampering to a degree. And you're going to see the Big Ten and Wisconsin try to prove that if you sign an NIL contract, it's got to be enforceable. And that Miami interfered, and there should be some damages here. We don't give you all this money just for you to bail on us here. You gotta honor the contract, I think, is the gist of it here. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's going to make my quarterback in NCAA. I'm sorry, scratch that. College football 26 on your PlayStation Xbox. I'm going to have QB9. It's going to be Paul Swann. I'm going to take charge of the Thundering Herd, and I'm going to lead the herd to the national championship on the video game. You can get an NIL deal for that. More coming up on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
25. It's a Huntington Tri-State summer tradition, and it all kicks off Thursday, July 3rd at Harris Riverfront Park. Dog Dazzle 2025 featuring Matt Stell. Plus, special guest, Madhouse. And don't miss the Big Sandy Superstore Furniture Fireworks Show, lighting up the sky. Gates open at 5 p.m. Enjoy inflatables, ice-cold drinks from the Clark's Pump and Shop beer tents, food trucks, and family fun all night long. Dog Dazzle with Matt Stell. Get to 937thedog.com for free ticket locations. Dog Dazzle 2025 with Matt Stell, Thursday, July 3rd. Presented by the City of Huntington, Cabell County Commission, Blinko Glass Company, Dave & Buster's, Little Caesars, Wendy's, Great Outdoors Marine, Miller Lite, Twisted Tea, Gomart, University Ford, One Way Septic, White Claw, Michelob Ultra, Busch Light, Kendrick Communications, and 93.7 The Dog. Dog Dazzle. Kick off your fourth with a bang.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today, talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Save big money on your outdoor project at Menards. We make landscaping simple with our free, easy-to-use design program and step-by-step project guides. Plus, Menards has the largest in-stock selection of concrete landscape block at the best prices. Save big on everything when you shop at Menards. Visit us in-store or on Menards.com to see our full selection of landscape blocks and get your outdoor project started today.
Save big money at Menards.
Get ready for a summer of fun with Cold Cats Baseball. This season, the ballpark is packed with action, giveaways, specialty jerseys, fireworks, and more. Experience the excitement and watch the future stars of the MLB as they spend their summers playing in Huntington. The Cold Cats are proudly sponsored by Marshall Health Network, DirecTV, CJ Hughes, Thundering Beverage, Clark's Pump and Shop, Wendy's and the Schmidt Family Restaurant Group, The Great Outdoors Marine, True Soul Boutique, and Dale Morton Mascot Studios. Hurt at work? Tom Boggs is here for you in Huntington, and he's brought the expertise of Warner Law Offices with him.
Call 345-6789.
Okay, forest animals, today is a new day. Kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow.
Yes?
Have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
yours.
Catchy. I like it. Okay, River.
Dude.
How's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man. Perfect for a little riverside shoeless relaxation.
Ah, good. Owl, you here? Course. Who's asking? I am. Look, you know the drill. Sleep during the day, scare the kids at night.
Perfect. I love my job.
Oak Tree?
What's up?
Still in the same place I left you last year. That's what I like. Consistency.
Well, it's not like I'm going anywhere for the next couple hundred years.
I know. I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. You'd think he would have learned by now to leave the night before our meetings. Okay. Squirrel. Has anybody seen Mr. Squirrel?
The Forest has been preparing just for you. Visit a forest near you today. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
We continue on with this Friday edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 as West Virginia Day. Hopefully, you all left out plenty of pepperoni rolls and Mountain Dew for the Mothman, and hopefully he left you lots of presents this morning. I'm curious, where did that get started? I know that meme came out several years ago. Where did that get started? Who came up with that? That's because it's actually pretty funny. It's one of the better memes. So now everyone that's from the state of West Virginia, in one way or another, uses it on social media, and people are probably scratching their head that are not from West Virginia. What are you all talking about there? Our text line this hour brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Another great text came in just for the fact alone that, and let me tell you, first of all, there's been a lot of shakeup in college athletics, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. And I hate using that cliche, but I think that's where we're at right now. I don't know if you knew this. The women's tennis program at Louisiana Monroe has been disbanded because of financial constraints at the university's athletic department. That story came out from the Associated Press earlier today. And that goes right into a text we just got. Texter says, Paul, NIL is just a pretense for paying enticing recruits. It's like a real-life video game. The whales, the big schools, can poach and make offers that can't be refused. That's a great text. I appreciate that because that's what it's become. It's become a personal checkbook just about. You open up your personal check and think, okay, I'm going to write you this check. I'm going to put in the memo, NIL. That makes it legit, NIL. We're going to give you this money, but you can't cash it. You can't cash it without a student ID from our university. Yeah, it is a real-life video game. That's a great point. Thank you for that text. That's fantastic because you can just, you know what, I got to get the program better, so let's just go and add. There was actually a recruiting component to the video game that came out last year, and I'm curious what that's going to look like. And a lot of people live for that aspect alone, and it's pretty fun if you're really into that kind of stuff. But in real life here, there's no reason or rhyme to this anymore. If you are trying to build a program, you are going to have to now, just to be even with the other schools, you're going to have to make sure that you can also pay the players, fund the scholarships, make sure you have good NIL offers. I mean, there's going to have to be a clearinghouse for this, but that's going to be, I'm sure, challenged. And I think I also saw something that it is being challenged as well. And then going back to this story about the tennis program at Louisiana Monroe, athletic director John Hartwell and the story announced that the decision stemmed from, quote, increased operational and infrastructure costs and will help ULM athletics, quote, to continue progress towards balancing its budget, end quote. And that's going to be while maintaining an NCAA required minimum of 16 Division I sports. And that's going to stem from trying to guide the athletic department through roster limits, funding every roster spot. And he said in the report that as the women's tennis players graduate or transfer, scholarship funds that had been dedicated to them will be redirected to other remaining women's sports teams. They're going to save on some other expenses. They're going to save on coach's salary. They're going to save on facilities. They're going to save on equipment, travel. That's going to be a big savings for the university. And I understand it's a tough decision, but was it really a tough decision for them? You know, you've got the whole quote here. Quote from Hartwell: "Discontinuing sport is never an easy decision, nor one that we take lightly. We know this is tough for our student athletes and our coaches. We have poured so much into our tennis program." But someone did the math and went, okay, this is going to cost us more to keep it going, and we can use that money towards other programs. So here we go. What's that mean for them? That means, well, we're going to not have tennis anymore, and we're going to save the money. We're going to put that probably towards football, paying down any debts. And the one thing about the Sun Belt that I liked was the fact that you had a conference schedule. That was the one thing I liked about this league. And Marshall had to travel down to ULM. Marshall won 4-0. And now ULM doesn't have to send a tennis team to Huntington. Doesn't have to deal with that. And here's another item to keep in mind here. The tennis team was 3-15. If I read this right, 3-15. The last time the tennis team won was March 1st. It was 4-3 against Jackson State. And then it proceeded to lose every match since. I'm doing my math right here. I think 12. They lost 12 straight. Yes, that's it. 12 straight. They went 0-11 in conference. 3-15 overall, 0-11 in conference. And so ULM deciding to do away with tennis. So what's that mean for the university? Well, you look at their men's sports: baseball, basketball, cross country, football, golf, track and field. Women's sports: basketball, beach volleyball, cross country, golf, soccer, softball, track and field, and volleyball. So tennis goes by the wayside here. And in the Sun Belt, the sports that are sponsored, tennis, of course, is one of them. Will you see programs continue to make cuts and then look at conferences to go, okay, can we get rid of this as a requirement? Soccer came back on the men's side because there's now enough teams to sponsor soccer. Of course, Marshall coming into the league, bringing its soccer program with it, its national championship caliber soccer program into the league, bringing some affiliate members in. You had enough to field a soccer conference. You can sponsor soccer now. We're going to get to the point where the league goes, okay, we understand, and so which sport can we do without? And I don't see right now any of these sports that the league will cut. Baseball's not going anywhere. That's obvious. Basketball is not going anywhere. The outdoor, indoor sports, track and field, cross country, not going anywhere. Same with golf, same with football. Soccer, probably in the best position it can be in a long time. I mean, the Sun Belt was bragging today, one of a few conferences in the country to have two programs compete for a national championship: Marshall in soccer and Coastal Carolina in baseball. So none of these sports are getting cut. I don't see, beach volleyball was an addition recently. There was a joke that Marshall would have a beach volleyball team because, again, the overall standings of the Commissioner's Cup, that was something that this administration, this athletic department, has put an emphasis on. 304-396-TALK, our text line, 304-396-8255. Final segment coming up. We'll update you on our poll question. We're running it now on X at Paul Swann. Question of the night: who do you got? Game 7 NBA Finals. You taking the Thunder Are you taking the Pacers? Who you got in this? We'll break it down for you when we continue on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
It's the Grand Slam sales event at Ironton Automotive, and you're up to bat. Drive one out of here with unbeatable deals on winning lineups of cars, trucks, and SUVs. Slide into a new ride today with easy financing, top dollar trade-ins, and home run savings that'll have you rounding the bases in style. Don't wait, these offers won't last forever. Visit 2125 South 3rd Street in Ironton, Ohio, or online anytime at irontonautomotive.com and score big before this event heads for the fences.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today, talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ziprecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free.
I'm Nori, and when I was young, my mom opened our home to someone who needed a secure and safe place. She taught him what it was like to have someone care about you, having dinner at home or going out to eat together.
In West Virginia, families open their homes every year to adult family care.
Some folks need a little extra help, but everybody deserves a family.
Call the Department of Human Services and ask to speak to an adult family care home finder at 304-269-6820. Sponsored by the West Virginia Department of Human Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project is supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, of the United States, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $1,227,345, with 100% funded by ACL HHS. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of nor an endorsement by ACL HHS or the U.S. government.
This is Mayor Patrick Farrell. Summer in Huntington has always had a special energy, but this year feels different. Families are out walking, neighbors are reconnecting, and more folks are spending time downtown. We're a city focused on what matters. Dog Dazzle is your chance to soak it in. Enjoy fireworks, food, music, and a night by the river that brings us together. Join us July 3rd at Harris Riverfront Park. We'd love to see you there.
Buddy's All-American Barbecue is now in Milton. Enjoy all your favorite Buddy's classics like pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more on East Main Street in Milton. Buddy's All-American Barbecue, the home of great barbecue, ice-cold beer, and killer wings in Huntington and now in Milton.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
We continue on with this Friday edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line is open, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Ben on the text line just a minute ago. First of all, wanted me to let everyone know it's Ben. Okay, Ben. Ben sends in the projected pre-release notes for the video game. Okay, Marshall football top offensive players. Jalen Slappy with a rating of 84. Toby Payne, 83. And Adrian Norton, 81. Defensive players, not bad, but quarterback group is rated 71. Tight end group is rated 73. Linebacker group is rated 68. Running back group is rated 74. Offensive linemen rated 67 as a group. Defensive back rated 68 as a group. Wide receivers as a group 71. Defensive linemen as a group 69. And the kicking and punting core, or kicker punter, 65. So that's the player rankings for Marshall, the video game. Of course, that's coming out from EA Sports. And you can, honestly, you can take as much stock as you want in this. After all, this team hasn't even played a down yet. You know, guys that would see their rating in Madden would have issue with EA Sports, like, oh, why am I rated so low? Why am I rated so low? Yeah, it's again, I know players get into that kind of stuff. I don't know if you do. So if you do, let me know. If you don't, let me know. 304-396-TALK is our text line. Our poll question of the night, you can hit me up on X at Paul Swann. Question of the night, who do you have winning Game 7 of the NBA Finals? You're going to be able to hear that game right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930, as well as our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. Thunder right now leading the charge. 58.3% of you that have voted said the Thunder are going to take Game 7. 41.7% of you are saying the Pacers will take Game 7. Those are the final results from our poll question. For more poll questions throughout the week, next week, and beyond, find me on X at Paul Swann. If you would, I would appreciate a follow. And then you'll be able to get those updates throughout the year. Texter says, Paul, I'm too old to play the video game, but I am interested in how EA Sports rates the herd. Okay, that's a text in the positive for the video game news. Let's be honest. If you are of a certain age, you're going to be all over this thing. And it was crazy last year. I know Marshall had the launch party of sorts. You know, you could get custom poster covers, and that was the cool thing. Everybody had a custom cover of the video game with their featured player. Marshall had his custom cover, and so I'm interested to see what Marshall's response to the new game will be, if there will be as loud as a launch party. I was told it couldn't happen, but I suggested, hey, have that thing on the football scoreboard at Marshall and play that thing. Can you do that? I was told, no, not really. So I don't know what the stance is on that, but that was one way to get the word out. I don't know if will it be as big as it was last year? Because last year there was a lot of pent up excitement for it. This year is it going to be just like Madden? Do people still yearly getting excited for the Madden release? I haven't played Madden in a long time. Maybe this will be the year. We'll be back with you on Monday. Don't forget, busy weekend ahead in sports. We've got the NBA Finals coming up on Sunday. We have got Pirates baseball all weekend long right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And, of course, hopefully we'll be talking about a Coastal Carolina National Championship in baseball when we come back on Monday. Now, if you missed anything from today's show, I've got a great way for you to catch up. Or if you can't listen all the time live, head over to our website. That's the best starting place at WRVC.com. Or give us a search on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or just wherever you get your podcasts. We're on all the major platforms. And then you can like, subscribe, follow, whatever the button says to do. It's free. You hit that button, and then the show will be delivered to you. And so when you're ready to listen, the show will be ready for you. And that's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for everyone tuning in. Have a great weekend, everyone. And we'll be back with you on Monday here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.